Brrr. What's up, y'all? Y'all already know what time it is, man. It's Trey, a.k.a. Mr. Volusia County Boy, Mr. 386. I be all that. Listen, bro, y'all see the logo, bro. We ready to rock and roll. We got merch dropping soon, bro. Florida on Florida violence, bro. Like, we really do this. Like, we really do this. Anybody ever tell you what we do this, bro? We really do this, bro. And, like, man, I'm just, like, I'm hype. I'm so happy for Miami. I'm so happy for the culture of Florida. You know, kids staying home and playing for, Florida schools. Depending on the situation, because I understand if you just need to get away from that, then I understand that. Like a Jeremiah Smith, I understand that. But don't be talking spicy. But yeah, man, like, listen, I am elated. I'm so ready to see what happens next. I'm happy for both teams. Shouts out to Trinidad Chambliss, absolute stud. I do not think that Ole Miss would have the season that they had without him. He is a dual threat quarterback, even though he will stay in the pocket or he will like leave the pocket and extend the play. And I love that for Trinidad. Like Trinidad is just like he's a stud, man. You just gotta appreciate him. You just gotta appreciate him. Watch his game. You just gotta appreciate him. All right, so the spread is, or the prediction, 57.1 to 42.9, leaning favor towards Miami. And I'll get into that later. If anybody's betting, the gambling, I'm not. I just let the players play. I just want to see the players play. I don't really care about gambling. But yeah, here we are. So if you look at the stats, they're kind of similar. Chambliss get that ball out of there a little more. 300 extra yards. I really think that just came from that Georgia game, honestly, boy, because he put it on Georgia. Like they was out for revenge. They were out for revenge, and shout out to Ole Miss for getting that get back. But man, listen, man, we got 2 revenge games here, man. But I don't have time to get into, because Miami got their get back on Ohio State from all them years ago in the national championship game that they should have won. But here we are, people. Here we are. It's poetic to me. Both of these teams are poetic. Because if you follow Trinidad Chambliss' story, he came from like a D2 or D3 school. He wasn't even supposed to be playing there, or he wasn't supposed to be starting along really playing like that. He's going to be like a backup and they don't really care about. An injury happens and this man takes the hell off, man. Shouts out to that boy, man. I mean, like, look, as you can see, like what I said, this dude just had an unrealistically, like, video game year. Just absolute video. That's video game numbers, bro. Like that. Like if he would have scored more touchdowns with those yards he was putting up, like, bro, he would have definitely probably won the Heisman over Mendoza. Mendoza. There we go. But like, listen, like I said, shout out to Trinidad, bro. Shouts out to D2 schools. There's some dogs out there that deserve a chance to play that don't because of politics. But no, shout out to Trinidad, bro. And I hope that more kids from those lower ranked schools get opportunities to come ball, at D1 schools. But shouts out to Carson Beck, aka Timmy Beck. We all know his story from Georgia. 2 years on the bench, and then when he finally get a chance to play, he gets injured. And coming to Miami to be able to produce and just be what he needs to be. He doesn't need to be a Heisman winner. He doesn't need to be a superstar. He just needs to be what we need from him in order to win the game. Because one thing that you don't want from your quarterback, if you can't win the game, don't lose the game. Shouts out to Mark Fletcher. Shouts out to, the true freshman Malachi Tony. Shouts out to Akeem Messador. Shouts out to, Ruben Bain, who, if you ask me, I feel like is a little bit better. But listen, I like both of them, dude. Shouts out to the linebacker core and the safeties, bro. Like Jacoby Thomas, what's up, bro? Fitzgerald, what's up, young man? What y'all doing? Like, I'm really happy for the O lineman and the D lineman. Shouts out to him. I'm just really happy for Miami, dude. Like I said, both of these stories are poetic, and it could go either way. But there can only be one winner, and who I'm rooting for Miami. I'm going to tell you why I'm going for Miami. So, not just because I'm biased because I'm in Florida, but, I look at what Miami was able to do versus their competition. I do think that the SEC is overrated. I do think that, the SEC is not the SEC of old, even though, I think, like, the good teams are the good teams and the sorry teams are the sorry teams, but there are a lot more SEC teams that are sorry than there are good nowadays. 3 of the SEC teams that went to a bowl game lost. LSU lost a bowl game, and that's not the conversation, neither here nor there. I think Miami can cover the field. I think that the D line is going to get to Trinidad. They've done it. They did it. Like they've dealt with running quarterbacks before. You know, DJ Lagway, Byron Brown, USF, DJ Lagway, Florida. You know, Timothy Castelletto, Florida State. You know, like all those Florida teams with amazing dual threat quarterbacks, and they neutralized all three of them. You know, like freaking C.J. Bailey, they neutralized him. You know, Marcel Reed, another SEC team. You know, they neutralized him. So you know, I love Trinidad. Trinidad's specialty is that he can extend plays and get outside of the pocket, and I love that for him, but he has been sacked 13 times, at least in the SEC, so that's amazing that his O-line's been able to protect him, but he's also been able to just get out of the pocket and get rid of the ball or just extend the play so that he don't get sacked, but he does leave the pocket a little too much for me. He got sacked 5 times by University of Florida when they played them. He got sacked 3 times when they played Washington State. And that Citadel game, it says 1, but no, they was getting pressure on him all game. And they got blew out, but at the Citadel game, they got pressure on him all night. I feel like they got way more sacks than just 1 because they were getting to the ball. They were getting to him. So I say that to say this. If those teams did, why can't Miami? Miami sacked Marcel Reed 5 times or 7 times. They sacked Julian Sayon, you know, freaking 5 times. And one of them is a pocket passer. One of them, you know, gets out and run. You know, like, shouts out to Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed had a hell of a year, too. I just think he's more of a running back than he is a quarterback. And I do think that Trinidad is more polished quarterback. You know, he can air the ball out and get the ball out. And also, I like the fact that, you know, Miami can run the ball. And Ole Miss has struggled with that. You know, most of the teams that they play average almost 150 yards running. Like the average, like maybe one team, I think that was Tulane, the first time they played them only had like maybe 80 yards running, but the second time they played them they had like 150. And you know, like freaking Kentucky running back had like 220 yards on them. Like there's a lot of teams that like they played that, you know, had was able to successfully run the ball on them. And we've seen, you know, how strategic, you know, Mario Cristobal and the coaching staff is when it comes to, you know, running Fletcher and figuring out creative ways to get Malachi Tony the ball or just, you know, get, you know, Carson Beck to spread the ball around. So, you know, I really like, you know, what I've seen from Miami as far as what these playoffs have done and what they've been able to do. You know, the stunts that they ran on Marcel Reed, the stunts that they ran on Julian Sayin, and just, you know, you can't plan for Jeremiah Smith, but, you know, no disrespect to any of the receivers on Ole Miss side, and definitely not Kejuan Lacey because that guy's a stud. But I do think that Miami defense can contain Trinidad because he likes to run, and they've dealt with scrambling quarterbacks this entire year, and he's no exception. I love him. I think he's a talented player, I really do. And I love Lacey as well, man. Great running back. But you got to show me. Now, like I said, on the other hand, Ole Miss has some players that can get to the ball. You know, they got an amazing D lineman. What's that guy name? It's not him. It's another dude. It's another dude. I forget his name though. That actually has 10 sacks. But that guy's a freaking disruptor, by the way. I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. But Ole Miss, man, just that tempo, bro. Like they just got to drive to where they can just get a tempo and just get going. They're like a train. Once they get going, they go on a roller coaster. Once they go down and go back up, they just going, and they have a motor, man. You don't want to get into a shootout with them. The same thing like with Ohio State, man. You got to conserve the game. Keep Chambers off the field. Keep him off the field because the more opportunity, the more time you give him, he's going to figure something out. That dude Houdini, he is going to figure something out. Like, and shouts out to him. Like I said, I like Trinidad Chambliss. I really do. I think he's a great kid. I hope he gets another year to play. But yeah. This offense, Ole Miss success is going to run through Trinidad Chambliss. You know, if he can win the game, if he can help them win the game, he'll help them win the game. If he can't, then they're gonna lose. And it's that simple. Shouts out to Kejuan Lacey, though. I think he's a talented freaking running back. Shouts out to, you know, like the coaching staff and the receivers. Like, I'm just so happy for Ole Miss. But listen, we got to see what happens. Hey, we'll see y'all there. Florida Blights. You already know the time. Listen, y'all, we got another one. It's another one, baby. It's another classic in the making, baby. Let's do it, bro. Miami versus Ole Miss tonight. Let's get it.